So, Malcolm, what are the economic benefits that VCTs provide?
So a VCT like Titan VCT, which is the one that we manage, invests into technology companies. And if we look over the last decade, really, these are one of the key growth areas of the UK economy. And they're also a source of important international competitive advantage. So if we see them operating, what we see is the output of that is building expertise, a growing group base of talent, more productivity gains in the economy more broadly. So we're seeing like this massive, like virtuous circle of the ecosystem maturing. So when I look at our portfolio last year, we had 900 jobs created in 2020. I think in 2021, there was actually a 50% increase in number of tech jobs created in the UK. And one of the actual new things that's come out of since the pandemic, there used to be a criticism that a lot of investment was focused on the London and Southeast and potentially neglecting other parts of the country. But what we've seen now, especially in our portfolio, is maybe 1 in 5, maybe even more jobs being posted now are listed as remote. So although the capital may be flowing to companies headquartered in London, actually the use of that capital is actually spread much more broadly as they're hiring people really across the UK.
That's really interesting, that capital flowing out to the regions across the UK, because obviously, levelling up is, a central plank of the government's policy. So really useful to hear that VCTs are contributing to that. Bevan, what economic benefits do VCTs provide?
Similar sort of themes within the Baronsmead portfolio, strong levels of job creation. So on a like-for-like basis, the Baronsmead unquoted portfolio sort of hired 40% more people than it did at the same time a year ago. So you think that we're investing capital into these sort of high growth, exciting, ambitious businesses, and the main purpose or use for that capital is job creation. So that's a significant sort of driver of growth and value within our businesses. Also, we've got a really strong sort of regional sort of network of advisors and offices across the UK, which is also supporting sort of increased deployment of capital outside of London and the sort of southeast. So we're definitely sort of seeing additional levels of deal opportunities and deploying capital outside of the sort of traditional London and southeast sort of base. I think the other sort of really important role that VCTs play for small businesses is just that professional investor. So coming back to the experience now that we've got within the industry of managers helping entrepreneurs to scale businesses and bringing good governance and making sure that the businesses that we're backing are good sort of corporate citizens and are building companies that are going to have long-term sustainable competitive advantage.
Really great to hear that VCTs are driving those jobs, that job creation really satisfying. And Chris, what do you think of the economic benefits that VCTs provide?
Well, clearly very similar in terms of the employment opportunities. What I would say is that in 2017, the latest set of rule changes introduced by HMRC and government really focused everyone's minds on financially supporting businesses at an early stage of their development and enabling them to scale up efficiently, successfully, and with a much greater eye on patient capital, on long-term growth. There were a lot of VCTs back then that were sort of asset-backed and didn't really create jobs. The other aspect of it, of course, in terms of employment, is not just the direct employment that we all help to create, but the spin-off to that, the companies that are those companies' customers that are involved in packaging, distribution, sales, advertising, and those indirect jobs, incredibly difficult to quantify in any accurate sense whatsoever. But there's absolutely no doubt that the VCT sector has now enabled a vast cohort of businesses not only to be successful in their own right, but to employ that success in indirect employment opportunities for customers or for suppliers into those businesses. And that's absolutely a virtuous circle. And I think there's an awful lot of misunderstanding about venture capital still out there today. However, that is definitely changing, and people realizing both at very high levels in government and in Treasury that this is a net benefit to all concerned, but also the wider community. People can see the fruits of that success and actually tangibly know someone who's been helped by a growing company that's been supported by VCT and investment. And the lack of alternatives isn't easily solvable. You know, the banking industry just isn't prepared to support early stage businesses because they perceive them to be too risky. And we've seen that ever since the financial crisis and probably even before. So I think we're all very enthused. I think the message is getting out there, and I think there's great scope just to go from strength to strength and helping to support those early stage innovative businesses.